Hello to all my friends and family, and welcome to Jim's 5am Club. And today I'm coming to you from another special location. I'm up here at Fingal Bay, taking a drive up here just for the day with my wife Paula, just to get out of Sydney and get some fresh air and just feel as if we've travelled and gone somewhere. Otherwise, just staying at home during this COVID sort of episode is always a bit of a struggle. So just for our mental health and just for our well-being and our goodness of health, we just decided to get in the car and just go for a bit of a drive. Anyway, on the subject of mental health and health in general, I came across a term just the other week which I'd never heard before. But on deeper investigation, it's something which is really, really powerful, and it's something which is probably good for each and every one of us to be aware of. And the word that I came across is called rumination. Rumination. And I must admit, I'd never come across this word before, or if I'd come across it before, I didn't pay very much attention, and it didn't really stick with me. But rumination is a powerful mental sort of thing that we all need to be conscious of and aware of. And it basically is, rumination is those constant thoughts that we have circling in our mind all the time. And they can be overpowering and quite damaging if not managed. But I think the important thing, first of all, is to be aware that there are things called ruminative thoughts that just keep on circling in our conscious, at least. And you'd imagine that there's an infinite number of ruminative thoughts which are occurring in our subconscious. But because we can't tap into our subconscious, or it's very, very difficult to tap into your subconscious, then we've got less control over what's happening below the surface, unless of course you get medical attention through hypnosis and other processes of, say, neural linguistic programming. But let's just talk about those mental loops that we have occurring in the background, and just understand that there are both positive and negative mental loops, but the majority of the mental loops that we have occurring, of course, are negative ones. But how do they work? How do they come about? As I say, I'm not a psychologist, so I don't really understand the mechanics of this rumination. But I guess when we were young, when I was young, for example, and I fell in love and I met my wife, I remember having these overwhelming thoughts all the time where all I would be doing is just thinking about Paula throughout the day. And I guess in a different context, smokers, alcoholics, and people who are involved in substance abuse are also overwhelmed with these thoughts, this rumination which just keeps on circling in their head. Because I remember a friend of mine who had a bout of alcoholism said to me that an alcoholic is either drinking or thinking about drinking. That's the only two sort of modes of operation that they have. And it's very, very binary. So either you're drinking or thinking of drinking. And I'd imagine that smokers are pretty similar, because as a lot of people say, smoking is another habit which is very, very overwhelming and overpowering. And I used to be a smoker in the old days. I used to smoke, and I remember, not having cigarettes on me would send me into a bit of a panic mode. Whereas I needed to have cigarettes so that I could pop one in the mouth and have a puff, just to alleviate that stress that I was feeling, but more so the thoughts about smoking, having a smoke. and just satisfying those thoughts. So I guess we all have those mental loops which just keep on circling. And as Anthony Robbins says, that a lot of these loops can be quite overwhelming. So in order to break those loops, we need to break the state that we're in. We need to somehow get distracted and think about something else. But I guess there are levels of rumination where you just can't break that thought pattern, that thought loop, and it could lead to further damaging mental illness. But I don't want to get into the mental illness side of it. I just want to talk today about the loops that we have, and to understand how we can use and talk about how we can use them to our advantage. And if we've got negative thoughts, what we can do to try and at least stem the flow and break them, and at least try and replace them with some positive thoughts. I've said on other 5 a.m. clubs that science basically tells us that on a daily basis we may have up to 60 or 80,000 thoughts going through our mind, our conscious and our subconscious mind, and the vast majority of those thoughts are negative. But it's those repetitive thoughts that we have that we need to try and identify and understand what's happening there. So the way we do it is that we keep a tab, we keep a journal, we keep a list of what those thoughts are, and we try and identify the ones which are repetitive, the ones which seem to happen all the time. It's the sort of thought that you have around about, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, when you're feeling a bit lethargic, and all of a sudden you start thinking about chocolate and you start thinking about something sweet to put into your mouth. And the more you think about it, the more you get obsessed with that thought, until you just get up from your desk and go and buy a chocolate or go and buy a cake and just shove it into your gob and just satisfy that thought. But the sad thing is, the funny thing is that sugar is addictive. So after you have that thought that you want something sweet, and you put something in your mouth and you reward yourself with something sweet, then what happens is that sweetness kicks off a chemical reaction. That's the word I'm looking for. I was trying to work out what the word was. A chemical reaction which creates more ruminative thoughts, and the rumination just kicks off, and the cycle just gets going, and before you know it, you've had a whole packet of Tim Tams, and you've had a couple of cream buns, and you've eaten a tub of ice cream, and you've just gone out of control. And then you're sitting there saying, how did that happen? How did that happen? How did I get to being in control and then all of a sudden being out of control? And the answer is, it's all this rumination, these ruminative thoughts which just keep on circling and circling, and it's just like a mental loop, just like a program which is in a loop, a never-ending loop. And the more you think about it, the more you want it, the more you want it, the more you think about it, and you just can't break out of that cycle. And I guess falling in love is all about rumination, because the more you can't have something, the more you can't have somebody, the more you think about them, and the more you continue to think about them. So to all the young people out there, I guess hopefully you will fall in love with somebody, and you will just be overwhelmed with thoughts throughout the day, throughout the night. You'll always be distracted by the same thoughts, the same person, and wondering, what are they doing now? What are they thinking now? Why haven't they called? Why haven't they done this? Why haven't they done that? And you've got to be careful that it doesn't become an obsession, and that obsession becomes counterproductive, and you become, what's the word I'm looking for? You become a stalker. You know, the stalking starts in your mind, and then it just grows from there. So it's always pretty challenging, all of these things, and they're difficult topics to talk about. But we've got to understand that these things are real, and these things are happening to people all the time. So I guess the important thing is to understand that they're happening, learn how to keep a log of your own thoughts, your own repetitive patterns, and learn how to A, identify them, and B, deal with them and manage them so that they don't manage you, and you get to control them. Anyway, that's about it from today, from Jim up here at Fingal Bay on Jim's 5 AM Club. Let's finish off with a positive affirmation. I'm alive, I'm well, and I feel absolutely great. To my friends and family, stay connected, stay relevant, stay reasonable, and most importantly, let's take charge of all of those thoughts that we have, especially the ones which are circulatory in nature, and to identify rumination and to manage it where possible. Anyway, take care everybody. Yassas. I look forward to coming to you again tomorrow from another location with another message of empowerment, and we'll chat again. Pilakia from Fingal Bay, Sagapao, and I look forward to continuing Jim's 5 AM Club and just taking us all on a journey of discovery, a journey of empowerment, and something where we can all grow and develop at the same time and hopefully find useful. Bye for now. Yassas.